Here's a full YouTube article on the Bersey Electric Cab 1897, one of the world's first electric taxis and a symbol of early automotive innovation. The Bersey Electric Cab 1897, London's forgotten electric taxi revolution. In the modern rush to electrify transportation, it's easy to believe that electric vehicles (EVs) are a recent phenomenon. But more than a century ago, in the heart of London, the streets echoed not with the rumble of petrol engines but with the silent glide of electric cabs. These pioneering vehicles were the Bersey Electric Cabs, introduced in 1897, a revolutionary fleet that predated the Tesla era by more than 120 years. Let's journey back to the Victorian era to discover how London experimented with clean energy long before climate change became a global concern. London in the 1890s, a city in flux. By the 1890s, London was choking, not from emissions, but from horse manure. Over 11,000 horse-drawn taxis operated across the capital, generating over 1,000 tons of waste per day. Streets were congested, foul-smelling, and dangerous. The demand for cleaner, more efficient urban transport solutions had reached a critical point. Enter Walter Charles Bersey, an English inventor and visionary who saw the future in electric propulsion. As early as the 1880s, Bersey had been experimenting with battery-powered vehicles. But in 1897, he introduced something the world hadn't seen, an electric cab fleet ready to serve the public. Design and engineering, ahead of its time. The Bersey Electric Cab, often nicknamed the Hummingbird, because of its smooth and quiet operation, looked similar to the popular horse-drawn hansom cabs of the era but concealed a remarkable secret: it was fully electric. Key features of the 1897 Bersey Electric Cab. Power source: a 40-cell battery weighing approximately 1,600 pounds, 725 kg. Range: up to 30 miles per charge, impressive for its time. Top speed: around 12 miles per hour, 19 kilometers per hour. Chassis: built on a modified horse-drawn carriage. Steering: tillers instead of a steering wheel, like a boat. The cab was driven by a 3-horsepower electric motor and used lead-acid batteries. Although heavy and primitive by today's standards, it was groundbreaking. The vehicle emitted no smoke, no sound, and had no smell, which was a major advantage compared to the horse-drawn alternatives and the nascent petrol engines of the time. The launch: electric taxis hit the streets. In August 1897, a small fleet of 12 Bersey cabs began operation under the London Electric Cab Company. They were painted in bright colors and carried a flag proclaiming "Electric" on top. Londoners were astonished. These vehicles moved almost silently, didn't require rest like horses, and were seen as a symbol of progress. Some features that amazed passengers: electric lighting inside the cab, shock-free, smooth rides, fixed prices, regulated by the company. For the late 19th century public, this was not just a new mode of transport, it was a glimpse into the future. The challenges: heavy load and technical limitations. Despite the enthusiasm, the Bersey Electric Cabs quickly ran into problems. The technology was innovative, but the infrastructure was not ready to support it. The major challenges included battery problems. The batteries wore out quickly and were expensive to replace. Weight issues. The cabs were heavy, which caused excessive wear on tires and suspension. Limited range. 30 miles was adequate for a single shift, but required frequent battery swaps. Charging infrastructure: non-existent. Batteries had to be manually swapped or charged overnight. Moreover, London's roads were rough and unforgiving. The weight of the batteries and the lack of proper suspension technology made maintenance a nightmare. Tires often burst, and the motors suffered from overheating. Decline and end of the Bersey Cab. By 1900, barely 3 years after their introduction, the Bersey Electric Cab experiment came to a close. The London Electric Cab Company ceased operations, citing high costs and technical limitations. In total, only about 75 Bersey cabs were built and used in service. The technology simply wasn't ready to meet the demands of a growing, dynamic city. But that doesn't mean it failed. In fact, it succeeded in sparking a conversation about electric vehicles and what urban transport could look like. Legacy: Bersey's forgotten genius. While the Bersey cabs disappeared from London's streets, they left behind an extraordinary legacy. First fleet of public EVs. The Bersey cabs were the world's first organized electric taxi fleet, a milestone in public transportation. Clean energy visionary. Walter Bersey's ideas foreshadowed today's EV revolution. Urban innovation. They demonstrated the importance of clean, efficient transport in dense urban environments. Walter Bersey went on to have a successful career in both the automotive and aviation industries. His contributions were largely forgotten by the mainstream, but today's EV industry stands on the shoulders of pioneers like him. Comparing Bersey to modern electric taxis. Let's take a moment to compare the 1897 Bersey Electric Cab to today's electric taxis, like the Nissan Leaf, Tesla Model 3, or the London Electric Vehicle Company's TX5. Feature Bersey Cab 1897 Modern EV taxis 2020s range 30 miles 200-300 plus miles top speed 12 miles per hour 100 plus mph battery type lead acid lithium ion charging infrastructure none fast charging networks environmental impact zero emissions passenger capacity 2 passengers 4 to 6 passengers. In every aspect, today's EVs outperform the Bersey cabs. But what Bersey achieved in the 1890s, without digital sensors, computer-aided design, or lithium batteries, was an act of brilliance and bold ambition. Rediscovering the Bersey cab today. Unfortunately, no fully intact Bersey electric cab has survived to the present day. However, museums and historical archives keep its memory alive through photographs, blueprints, and written records. In recent years, EV historians and collectors have begun celebrating Bersey's legacy more openly. His work is seen as a spiritual predecessor to brands like Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid Motors. If you're ever visiting a car museum in the UK or exploring archives related to the early history of the automobile, look out for the Bersey name, a quiet inventor who imagined the future long before the rest of the world was ready. Conclusion: the future was once electric, and still is. The story of the Bersey Electric Cab of 1897 isn't just a quaint tale of old London. It's a reminder that the fight for cleaner cities and smarter transport didn't begin in the 21st century. Over 125 years ago, visionaries like Walter Bersey saw the potential of electric vehicles and dared to challenge the noisy, polluting norms of their time. Though Bersey's electric taxis were ultimately phased out, they served as a prophetic glimpse of what the automotive world would one day embrace. As we stand on the threshold of a global electric revolution, it's worth remembering that this is not a new journey, it's a return to a better idea born long ago. The hummingbird may be gone, but its whisper echoes in every silent mile driven by today's EVs. Let me know if you'd like a thumbnail title, video script, or short version of this article for Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts.